So first I'll start by apologizing. When I was questioning the commissioner, I tried to fit into the small time frame, and I took two separate issues, and it may have seemed like they clumped together as one. One was on the ESSA and the feds allowing for, with this pilot program, alternative ways of assessing and the standardized testing. The other one was on consortium schools. So I'm going to make it simple this time and just focus on the standardized testing.
Okay.
And the question is, when she answered as far as what was being done and the process, and I believe my colleague also asked about the APPR issue and where we stood, she had mentioned that some changes were made to the standardized testing procedure, the shortening of days, the lengthening of hours that the students were given, which, while some might see that as a benefit, I heard from many parents who said you're basically forcing the kids to sit even longer at one time to do testing, so that's not really a great idea. The other answer was given regarding getting teachers involved in writing the questions for the tests. Now, perhaps Questar Assessments, the new company doing the tests, has brought on some former teachers or have some doing that, which may be great. But the feeling I'm getting, and from the teachers, from the administrators, from the superintendents, is still we're entirely too test-centric right now. And when it comes to assessing the students, the teachers, the schools, should we be that test-centric? And are the teachers as accepting as maybe the commissioner made it sound to this new testing procedure? So what are the teachers' feelings on this?
Well, definitely the answer would be no. They're not accepting of this. They've lived through the testing obsession, the test and punish agenda of the past several years, and they believe it is time for us to use tests to help students, that is the real goal of giving a test. Any teacher knows that. It's not about punishing anyone. And basically, you know, with gigantic school districts like New York City, 1.1 million students, and then a district like Indian River with 100 students, how do you really have one system that works for everyone? Most of the people that made this system up are no longer with us, right? So they don't have to be held accountable for what they put into place, but we are definitely of the opinion that the entire system was skewed the wrong way. When you're doing test prep from September to the test date in April, you have wasted an opportunity. You have wasted an opportunity to teach and learn, so we want to change that. We would say that the entire picture of teacher evaluations should be returned to local control, and that local control with no state mandates.
I'm going to jump in on that. In terms of, I agree with my colleague, and there are other ways to assess student learning. And see, that's what we've forgotten. And when we went to a 3-day test, I remember the absurdity of the argument. Does anyone know why we went to a 3-day test? Because the psychometricians needed it. Not the students. The psychometricians needed it to sign off that it was valid. So we literally went to
what that word means. I'm sorry.
The psychometricians who were brought in to certify that the test was valid said they needed a 3-day test. So we designed a 3-day test. Our state adopted a 3-day testing system because the psychometricians needed it. It had nothing to do with students. And that's when you know the train was off the rails at that point. So we have to get back to what is authentic student learning. I was very interested in your consortium question. I've been in the consortium schools in New York City, and it is a high level of assessment and learning, and it has nothing to do with tests. And their students perform when they leave their schools, when they go to higher ed, they perform at a very high level, and all that data is available. So I think it's time for New York State to look at other ways to actually assess authentic student learning and to give control to the local school districts, because as people like to say, if you have a principal here, they'll say, I know my school best. I agree with that. And then each teacher will say, I know my students. Well, how do we keep telling the school districts, guess what? We don't care what you do, what you think you know about your students, you need to do this way. Does the state have a responsibility to say student assessment is, student achievement is real and is happening? Yes, but there is a better way to do it than what we currently have.
I agree with you completely. Thank you very much.
Thank you.